Joining me now to talk about that is Danny Bartlett. Danny's a wee bit older than 16 or 17, but the interesting thing is he is the founder of Hands Up Who's Bored. And basically it's in relation to politics and trying to get young people engaged. Why do you think they're bored, Danny, first of all?
I think it's because they're not really represented on that top level in government. There's a few people that are trying hard to sort of combat political apathy, but I don't think that young people really feel that they have a voice in government. So they take to social media, they speak to their friends, but there is certainly a frustration there. And I think it's fantastic that Miliband is making that pledge, and I know that the Labour Party have been firm supporters of lowering the voting age, but it's not automatically going to make people go, right, I'm now going to vote,
Well, okay, right, I get that, but first of all, how low should you go? Is 16 okay?
I think 16's okay as long as it's matched with political literacy in schools. So I think you can't just give them the vote. You also need to ensure that if they're not getting their political appetite at home or within their friendship groups, they get it at school. And there's this great...
So it's all a bit joined up, a more joined up policy here?
Essentially, yeah. So, I mean, there's a fantastic organisation called Democratic Life who've been trying to safeguard citizenship education for years, and it's the only subject in the whole of the national curriculum that actually teaches political literacy and how to make informed decisions. But
okay, well, let me ask you this. As a young man, what got you engaged? What floated your boat? What turned you on to politics?
I suppose for me it's because I was a completely unconventional political character. I have silly facial hair, silly hair on the top of my head, and I think that a lot of the people that were engaged at the time were completely opposite to me. They had kind of like tie surgically sort of stapled onto their throats and stuff, but I had a voice, I had an opinion, and I wanted to share that. So I think that I didn't go down the normal route of joining a student council and that sort of stuff. If anything, I was a bit naughty at school. So I started getting involved and getting young people that were similar to me, that were kind of unconventional characters, and sort of forming opinion groups at school and at college, and that went through to university. And I ran a radio show called Broken News, which was kind of taking political, like one political issue and sort of breaking it apart and discussing it in real detail, but putting a bit of a fun edge on it. Yeah. So I've always come from a bit of an unconventional...
Just let's write that down. Let's steal that idea. That sounds very, very good. We'll have that.
A lot of these 16, 17-year-olds, and at 16 it's quite a daunting time. You're either preparing to leave school and go and get a job, or you're thinking about A-levels or university. It's quite a daunting time. What kind of political issues are 16-year-olds interested in? Is it youth unemployment? Is it university fees?
It's none, Sarah Jane, actually, because I've got a 16-year-old, and I don't think they should begin the vote at 16. I think 17 is when they're kind of honing their thoughts, thinking about A-levels, thinking about university, and that's when really issues like, student fees and things like that start cropping up. And I think maybe
it doesn't directly affect them, because I know when I was 16, 17, I was probably more worried about university fees. That would have been the biggest thing on my radar.
Yeah. I think that the Scottish referendum was a great example where it had nothing to do with political parties and their policies. It was an issue. They were asked, does Scotland want to be an independent country? And it was very easy to make an informed decision. It's either yes or no.
Their families were engaged as well, weren't they?
Exactly. So I think young people are more concerned with issues as opposed to the political allegiances of parties, the left, the right. These concepts to young people are quite dated. Yeah. So I think we need to address the issues, and I think young people are very concerned about issues that are going on, not just in the UK.
Well, Danny, some of the things you raised there, and particularly that whole joined up thing, I'm going to raise with Ed Miliband, because we're going to be talking to him after the break, OK?
Brilliant.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Danny Bartlett. Thank you. See you after this.